Howdy ho, you guys at the PMPBeta. This is DodoDodorov here. I'm a German dude, so please forgive me the mistakes that I will undoubtedly make. Yeah, this is gonna be my second upload to this channel. I hope you guys will enjoy. Leave me feedback because I want to know what you guys think. To improve mostly, and I also want to entertain you. So before I waste more of your precious time, let's get into the battle. This is gonna be an RU tier match against WandererOfTheWind. He really has some nice stuff on his channel, so you should definitely go over there and check him out. He leads with his Braviary while I lead with my Gligar. We had Team Preview on, but I just decided to lead with my Gligar because it was the safest play and I could set up my rocks. He's gonna U-turn out, which is, yeah, probably the best option he has. Brave Bird's not gonna do too much unless he's banded. And bulk upping, yeah, rather uncommon, so I just take the time to set up my rocks because that's gonna damage that Braviary every time he comes back in. I got into my Slowking predicting actually Psychic or probably T-Wave, and Slowking is already really slow and was Slowking pretty nicely. But in this case not, because this Slowking, his Slowking, is offensive. And that HP is super effective and does a fuck ton, so I'm thinking he might be Specs. And to check if it's HP Grass or Electric, I'll switch on into my Drapion. And if it does a shitload, it's not very effective, so it means it's Grass. And because he's choice locked, I'm free to set up my substitute while he has the switch out, because who's staying in with a Slowking with a resistive move on a Drapion? That's just like suicide. So he goes back into his Braviary, and I actually predicted him to go for the U-turn to break my sub, go out into his Umbreon, which he has to resist my Crunch. But he just goes for a Sheer Force boosted Rock Slide, so I basically wasted a quarter of my HP. But yeah, shit happens. And this turn he's just gonna keep Rock Sliding here, and I'll just go for the Crunch, which is gonna do a lot considering Braviary is kinda bulky. And yeah, that does a good, sorry about that, it does a good chunk. And I'm hoping he's gonna stay in, because I can go into my Aggron and set up if he decides to stay in. And fortunately he's gonna stay in, probably not wanting to risk that I'm gonna set up a sub while he switches out. He gets a crit here, and that Rock Slide does a lot because it's resisted, or also it's resisted. And that really surprised me, so I was kinda disappointed by Aggron's defenses here. Yeah, but he's not gonna stay in because he's never ever gonna do anything to me, and he's not gonna break my sub either. So I'll just set up a sub while he switches out into Steelix. I totally forgot about that, dude. But yeah, now I remembered after all. And yeah, I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake, which is my best option against the Steelix, because Head Smash is X4 resisted, is not gonna do shit. And that Steelix is probably his best counter he has against my Aggron, because anything left on his team is just gonna get 2 KO'd by a Head Smash. He just takes his time to set up the rock, which was kinda risky, I think. So I actually predicted him to be a Roaring Steelix, so he could just get me out on that turn with Roar. But it turns out he has Earthquake and does not carry the Roar, which kinda surprised me. But yeah, I don't want to take the risk of not killing him with Earthquake in this turn, because he's obviously gonna KO me back with Step Earthquake. Aggron can take unstepped Earthquakes with his really good defense, but Stab Earthquakes rather not. So I'll go out into my Ludicolo, who resists the Earthquake, and I only run that Ludicolo. It's a max specialty wall because of Shell Smashing Omastar in the rain, which is a pain in the nuts. And that's why I run that Ludicolo pretty much, because I'm not that much of a fan of Ludicolo. So he probably predicted my Leech Seed and stayed in there, but I just go for the Skull because I resist both his stab moves, and I can still get that 30% chance burn on something that tries to come in. And yeah, I just take down the Steelix, which is nice. So he goes back into his Braviary, that, yeah, stupid bird, whatever. And the worst he can do is Brave Bird, which is not gonna do too much to my Gligar because it's a beast. That Gligar, by the way, is 252 in specialty and impish nature without defense investment. So he dies to recoil and goes back into Slowking. I want to see what he's gonna lock himself into, and I think with my heavy specialty investment I can take an Ice Beam after the roost because I lose my flying typing and it's only 2 times effective. And in fact I can. He goes for the Ice Beam and now I know he's locked into Ice Beam, so I can go back into my Special Ball Ludicolo, who can take those for days. And I will just try to Toxic this dude and then Synthesis. But yeah, it's Ice Age time, so he gets the freeze, which was like lolzy, but then I fought out next turn and was like, okay, doesn't matter. I get off the Toxic, and next turn I was just gonna go, would like to, what the hell. I wanted to go for the Synthesis and then Giga Drain, but he goes for another Ice Beam and gets the second freeze. And I've never ever seen 2 freeze hexes in a row. And we were both like lolzing around and like, what the fuck, this is gonna be epic. I didn't like it that much, but it was okay because it was funny. So I'm not gonna fall out that turn, and that's gonna cost me my Ludicolo. But a frozen Ludicolo is, yeah, not worth that much, because who wants a frozen Ludicolo? I wouldn't. So I go on to my Optimus Prime, my Primeape, who does a great job in that metagame because of all those quiver dancing, sleep powdering Venomoths who you can easily outspeed, and after stealth wreck damage you always want to KO with Stone Edge, provided it hits, which can be random whatsoever. I go for U-turn because that's gonna hit the Slowking, and if he switches I'm gonna get that switch advantage. He sends in an Electros, and that guy is slow as hell, and my Aggron can easily outspeed and finish him off with Head Smash. So Aggron's just going out for Rape here, because that's what this guy does, right? He's gonna send in a Sceptile, which I hate, and I was really afraid that this guy would be a Subseeder, because that would like stretch the battle into eternity, and because Subseeding is just, blah. I don't like that on Wi-Fi. On PO it's okay, but on Wi-Fi it just wastes your time. But he turns out to be a Life Orb set, and he went for that Focus Blast. I think Leaf Storm would have killed me as well, because Aggron's specialty is not really good. But he risks going for another Focus Blast as I just sack out my Gligger to see what kind of Sceptile this is. And yeah, I know I can outspeed. Yeah, Scarf Sceptile is not that common, but in case he would have been Scarf Sceptile or one of these Unburdened Sceptiles, I would have had a problem. But now I know he's Life Orb, I can go into Optimus Prime, and I know that a close combat at this amount of health will kill. And he's just gonna fodder out his Umbreon, and that's the best Umbreon you can have. Umbreon with that did not do anything and is just roasted. That's Umbreon how I like it. So he goes back into Nice Hat because he knows I'm Choice Lock, because who runs, yeah, Primeape that is not Scarfed? I don't know anyone. And yeah, I gotta switch up because my close combat is obviously resisted, and I go into my Drapion expecting the HP Grass again, but he goes for Psychic, and right after he went for that Psychic, he was like, why the hell did I go for Psychic? Sorry about that. Yeah, we didn't know. So, because he's locked into Psychic, he has to switch right there, unless he wants to leave his Slowking, yeah, as fodder, and his Sceptile can't outspeed my Primeape, so he's, yeah, sacrifices his Sceptile in order to bring back in his Nice Hat. And I'm gonna go for the Crunch, and it's not gonna take him out, which was surprising. That really surprised me. So, Slowking has some really good bulk. And I get a useless defense drop because at this moment it's pretty much GG, because that Slowking is not gonna late game sweep my team. Lols, lols. Sorry about that. Whoops. And yeah, I'm just gonna go back into my Aggron, and I'll go for the safe Earthquake, because you all know how it is with accuracy when you need it. Stone Edge, for example. Stone Miss, as I like to call it. And yeah, that's gonna be GG. So good game, Wanderer of the Wind. I hope you guys like this battle. Tell me what I should improve. Tell me what you like. Give me feedback. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to dislike this video if you disliked it. I'm open to every kind of constructive criticism. Sorry. And yeah, don't forget to check out my channel if you want to see more. Don't forget to subscribe to the PokeMoshPitBeta. I thank you guys for your attention. See you guys. I'm out.